And good afternoon, East Alabama and West Georgia. It is Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024, coming up on 5:02 p.m. Central. And we're going to spend a few minutes talking about the possibilities of severe weather across East Alabama and West Georgia later on this evening into the early morning hours of your Wednesday. You see the updated graphic on the screen. This is from the National Weather Service office out of Birmingham, and you also see the timing there on the right-hand side of the screen. So what's changed since the last time we talked earlier this morning? And that is pretty much that the fact that the National Weather Service has upped that chance of severe weather, and now most of the state of Alabama is in an enhanced risk area for severe weather. We see marginal and we see slight quite often. We don't see the enhanced risk category that much, though it does happen, and even occasionally we see moderate. Very seldom do we see high. But the point I'm trying to make here is anytime you get a slight or above, you really need to pay attention to what's going on. Severe weather can happen anytime, but this is our way of letting you know how significant this could potentially be. We still don't think this is going to be a red letter severe weather day. However, there are some conditions that if they come together just right this evening, we could be looking at a more significant severe weather risk than we originally thought. And here's the caveat to all of this. We're going to be watching East Alabama for those storms to form. So it may not be that we see the storms in Mississippi and we track them across Alabama into East Alabama. These severe storms may develop right on top of East Alabama and West Georgia. There's a couple of things that the computer models are telling us that may develop. I'm going to walk you through all of that in the next 5-10 minutes or so. So we may have two situations going on here. We may have the main line, but out ahead of that main line, we may have more storms develop around 7, 8, or 9 p.m. this evening that could become severe rather fast. And we'll tell you more about that in just a few moments. But look at the timing. Now, this is based on the main line of storms. We're looking at probably after 11 p.m. before they move into East Alabama. We can't rule out a shower an hour or two prior to that. But the main line of storms, we're looking at probably somewhere around 11 p.m. through about 1 a.m. moving through East Alabama and West Georgia. A lot of you are going to be in the bed asleep, so we want to make sure that you have a good way of receiving severe weather information. NOAA Weather Radio is the baseline. That's the thing you got to do. If you don't have a NOAA Weather Radio, you've got time before the storms get here to go to your local department store, pick you up a NOAA Weather Radio, put you a battery or two in it, and set that thing up. They're real easy to program nowadays. And make sure you've got that NOAA Weather Radio set up beside your bed. So if you are in the bed and a warning is issued, that thing will rattle you awake, and then you can go to your safe place. Make sure you have a good app on your phone. Your phone comes from the factory with what's called a WEA alert. They're government-issued alerts. And so you will receive a tornado warning or a flood warning already pre-programmed on your phone unless you purposely turned that off. And if you think there's a chance that's happened, then go to the notifications on your phone and scroll down till you see emergency notifications and make sure you'll have several options. Make sure all that's turned on. Also, make sure you have a good weather app on your phone. I get text messages with questions just about daily. Which one do you recommend? They're all pretty much the same nowadays. Just pick your favorite television or radio station that offers that, and go with that. They all follow you around and give you pretty good warning information. Here's one thing you do not need to do. Never, ever rely solely on outdoor warning siren systems. Outdoor warning siren system is just what it says. It's for outdoor warning, not designed for residential indoor warning, especially during a storm. You know, you may hear that siren in your front yard on a beautiful sunny day at 12 noon on a Saturday during a test with no wind blowing. But at night, different relative humidity, different dew point. It's storming, it's thundering, it's raining outside. You're inside your house, asleep, air conditioner or fan blowing. You're not going to hear it. So never, ever try to rely on outdoor warning sirens to wake you up in the middle of the night. That's not what they're designed for. They're designed to warn you at the ball field. They're designed to warn you at a school. They're designed to warn you when you're outdoors, not indoors. So always keep that in mind. And just be weather aware. Know what's going on. We're going to do coverage for you tonight. If we need to, we will provide wall-to-wall coverage for you here on Dr. Don's Weather. So we'll be here with you. We'll walk you through this. We'll keep you informed. And if you're informed of what's going on, then you're 95% there already as far as being safe is concerned, because you just need to know when to go to your safe place to protect yourself and your family if severe weather is threatening your area. Again, I don't think this is a widespread severe weather event, but it's like I said this morning. You know, if it happens in your front yard, then it is a severe weather event for you. And it only takes one person for it to be well worth what we do. So we're going to watch this for you. We're going to step you through it throughout the evening. We'll be here with updates. And then again, if severe weather does start to threaten East Alabama and West Georgia, then we'll go with live wall-to-wall coverage, and we'll stay here until all is done. So there is the latest graphic. That enhanced risk is a 3 out of 5, which means that tornadoes, damaging winds of up to 70 miles per hour, and ping-pong ball-sized hail will be possible all across East Alabama and West Georgia. Now, you folks, listen, think about where you live. If you're anywhere in Alabama, now we can make this real simple. If you're anywhere in Alabama, if you're anywhere in West Georgia, and when I say West Georgia, I'm talking, northwest Georgia down to Atlanta, down to Macon and west, you're in that enhanced risk area. So let me show you the national look at this, and we'll see if we can get that to show up. Here we go. There's the severe risk for tonight. We've got that moderate risk up across portions of Indiana, Ohio, down into Kentucky. We have the enhanced risk all the way down into Tennessee, Alabama, northwest and west central and southwest Georgia. And then the yellow is the slight risk area, where all of the threats I just mentioned are still possible, just maybe not as likely as they are in the enhanced risk area. So if you're anywhere in Alabama, if you're anywhere in Georgia, northwest Florida, the Carolinas, Tennessee, really anywhere in the southeastern United States, maybe with the exception of Missouri and Arkansas and maybe Louisiana, you're in a risk for severe weather as we go through the overnight hours. So I know what typically happens. I start to get the whatabouts. What about this town? What about that town? This is a southeastern United States thing. If you're anywhere in the southeast, then you run the risk of seeing some severe weather as we go through the overnight hours tonight. And here's the unusual part about this. Look, social media is just popping a vein over this thing. Some of the scare tactics and fear-mongering I've seen out there is just unbelievable. Folks, there is nothing unusual about this. My friend James Spann put out a great post earlier today, and I want to reiterate what James said. There's absolutely nothing unusual about having a severe weather risk the first week of April. As a matter of fact, for the next 4 to 5, maybe even 6 weeks, we are going to be in our height of severe weather season across the southeastern United States. So all of these descriptions, I'm talking, catastrophic, biblical, all this stuff these people out there are throwing at you to get you to click on their link. It's nonsense. There's nothing unusual about this whatsoever. The one thing that maybe is a little bit out of the ordinary, not unusual, but out of the ordinary, and there is a fine line there, trust me, in this particular setup, our severe weather threat when it comes to tornadoes may actually increase as we go throughout the night instead of, like it normally does, decrease. And that is because we are watching East Alabama, you're in the bullseye, for the possibility of storms forming out ahead of the main line of thunderstorms. Some of the computer models are suggesting as the sun goes down, the winds are going to turn out of the southwest, and that's going to cause some veering in the upper levels of the atmosphere. It's pushing moisture north out of the Gulf of Mexico, and we may have some pretty strong thunderstorms form right over East Alabama and then eventually move into West Georgia out ahead of the main line of thunderstorms. Let's go ahead and head over to the Southern Union State Community College Live Doppler HD radar, and you can see clearly where the thunderstorm, the cold front, the leading edge of the thunderstorms are at the moment, along with this system, and we're going to just draw this line on the screen for you. Basically, that's the leading edge, and there's not a whole lot going on out there right now, to be quite honest with you. We've seen periods where we've seen some storms flare up and get pretty significant, but at the moment, there's not a whole lot going on down here on the southern end of it, because here's what's happening. Let me clear this off, and I'll show you. Let me give you the wide version here, and let's go back over to the composite. All right, that's turning on all of the radar sites across the southeastern United States, and it may take there we go, all across the entire United States. You can see that this low pressure is barreling through Chicago, Illinois. I mean, it's about to move right across Gary, Indiana. It's pushing all this mess out ahead of it. So we have weather really extending all the way up into Canada associated with this storm system. There's the big low anchored just to the west of Gary, Indiana, and you see it snowing in Milwaukee. Well, here's the trailing cold front that stretches through Detroit all the way back down across Kentucky into central Tennessee, northwest Alabama, across southern Mississippi, and all the way back to New Orleans, Louisiana. That's your leading edge of all of this mess that's moving off to the east. Now, notice that the most of the energy at the moment is up here on the north end of this line. We've got some severe thunderstorms moving into Cincinnati. We have some tornado thunderstorm cells now just northeast of Louisville, just north of Shelbyville, and north of Lexington, Fayette. And that's the closest tornado warning we can find right now up there just to the west of Interstate 75. So that's where all the energy is at the moment. But what we think is going to happen, well, here's another one that just popped up north of Knoxville. We have a tornado warning there also. But you'll see none of that's going on down here in the southeast. We have a special weather statement just west of Huntsville and just to the northeast of Tupelo. Other than that, nothing really is going on in the south. But what we think is going to happen as we go throughout the evening, that energy will continue to race off to the northeast, but the winds are going to start turning out of the southwest, and as the winds start to veer and that moisture starts to stream in from the Gulf of Mexico, we believe we're going to start getting some more unstable air on top of the sun-heated air that we've had all day long today, right across East Alabama and West Georgia. So the Weather Service is really watching this area for formation as we go into the mid-evening hours. I'm talking 8, 9, 10 p.m. this evening. There are several models out there that suggest we will have some big thunderstorms blow up in this area inside the circle I just put there on your screen, which will be in advance of the main line of storms, which is still up in northwest Alabama. So that's what we're going to be looking for, and that is conditional. If that doesn't happen, then we may not have that much of a severe weather threat across East Alabama and West Georgia. Certainly, there is that possibility that this whole thing will be a bust, and the most we get is a few rumbles of thunder, and that's what we're hoping for. But on the other side of the pendulum, there's always that possibility, too, that we could have some pretty significant severe thunderstorms form right over East Alabama and West Georgia in the next 2 to 3 hours. So this is the area that all eyes are on at the moment. This information, a lot of this information I'm giving you actually came from the Peachtree City Weather Service in just south of Atlanta. They did a special afternoon weather webinar with all the emergency managers across the state of Georgia. I was involved in that. And Keith Stillman, who is the chief warning coordinator for the National Weather Service at Peachtree City, was really concerned about this area of East Alabama and West Georgia. And he talked extensively about the possibilities of seeing some really big thunderstorms blow up quickly across this part of Alabama and Georgia and then move northeast toward Atlanta. So we're going to be watching for that possibility. And actually, we will certainly, if we start to see that developing, we will go live quickly and continue with our coverage here on Dr. Don's Weather. And then we're watching to see if this stuff along the main line can reorganize and become strong again as well. That probably won't be in here until midnight or after. It's pretty slow moving at the moment. We do have a tornado watch that's in effect for extreme northwest Alabama back into northeastern Mississippi. A good chunk of Tennessee under a tornado watch at this hour. And again, that stretches on up to the north, up into Virginia and to points in Kentucky and even up into Indiana and also Ohio. But at the moment, again, there's nothing really going on out there. I mean, you take a look at the radar and you'll see we're beginning to see what may be a few showers, very light showers there, forming in Clay and Randolph, just south of the I-20 corridor. Maybe a few showers around Atlanta Metro. If we look back to the west, we see a few very small, I call them popcorn showers there southwest of Alabaster and then north of Meridian, but nothing that shows signs of going severe at the moment. But again, the point I want to stress to you is these storms, if they develop out ahead of the cold front, could develop right on top of East Alabama, and they could develop rather quickly. And so that's going to be a little bit different because normally they form off to the west and we can track them across the state of Alabama. That may not be the case tonight. That's why you got to remain weather aware as we go throughout this event here this evening, and we are going to keep you in the know right here on Dr. Don's Weather. All right, so Lisa is watching us in Columbus, Georgia. Hey, Lisa, good to see you in here this evening. We have a Facebook watcher who's watching from Hughley, Alabama. Michael is watching us from Rome, Georgia. Bo Kendrick is watching us in Hollis. Let's see what else we got going on here. Rome, Georgia. Hey, Michael. Cindy Bain. Hey, Cindy, thank you. Amber Gray is watching us. Carrollton's in the house. Hey, Erica. Calhoun, Georgia. There's Mook. Kay is watching us in Glenn, Georgia. Pamela. Hey, Pamela. Amanda's watching us in Smith Station, Alabama. Rosemary's up on Potash. Oh, y'all are going so fast I can't keep up. Chrissy Smith, Cragford. Anita Stevens, Valley, Alabama. Kathy Bowling from Hogansville. You folks on Facebook, if you don't see your name up there, you need to click on that link that's scrolling in the chat room to give me permission to see who you are. Jaden watching us from Roanoke. Sharon watching us from Pennon. Kathy Holloway, Weathers in LaGrange, Georgia. Patrick's watching us in Wadley. There's some more Wadley folks in there. Jennifer Knott's watching us in Wadowee. Dakota's watching from the Corinth community. Level Roads. Thank you, Dakota. Josh Fishing watching us in Montgomery, Alabama, down in the capital city. Hughley, Alabama. Amanda Burcham's watching us in Piedmont. If I don't call your name, I apologize. The chat room is just absolutely moving so fast I can't keep up. Question. Patrick, what does it look like for us? Well, number one, Patrick, I need to know where you are. Number two, I just told everybody, if you're in the southeastern United States, there is a possibility of severe weather tonight. It's going to be impossible to tell you exactly what's going to happen in your town, on your street, in your front yard. That's crystal ball stuff right there, Patrick. And anybody who tries to tell you that they can tell you that's pulling your leg. But if if you're in one of the southeastern states tonight, there's a chance you could have severe weather. Just be weather aware. And we'll have it for you here as it happens, if it does. Well, thank you, Sharon McCart. I appreciate you. I appreciate you and folks just like you who support us here at Dr. Don's Weather. That's what makes all this work. Same thing for West Georgia. If you're anywhere in the southeastern United States, there's a chance of severe weather tonight. I'll tell you, West Georgia, and I'm talking from Carrollton to Columbus, and in East Alabama from Anniston to Auburn, you're right in the bullseye where we could potentially have some pretty strong thunderstorms later on this evening. They have not developed yet. There's nothing to the west of you at the moment, but at least the computer models believe that there is a better than decent chance we could have some strong storms develop right on top of East Alabama and West Georgia in the next 2 to 3 hours. Regardless of whether that happens or not, we will have a cold front move through after midnight. Right now, that cold front's not producing any severe weather. So at the moment, we have no impending severe weather that's moving toward East Alabama and West Georgia. That's the good news. We'll watch and see if that stays that way. Question, will there be any tornado watches? Don't know. There is one across northwest Alabama right now. And we're watching. We have a closed circuit type feed thing that we watch with the Storm Prediction Center. That's who issues the tornado watches. So far, they haven't mentioned the possibilities of issuing a tornado watch for East Alabama and West Georgia, but they're still assessing just like the rest of us are. And they will give us a heads up if they plan on doing that. And, of course, I'll let you know immediately if they do. At the moment, I see no any indications that they're going to, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen. Yeah, if we do start to see storms forming in East Alabama, I would say yes. You'll see a watch go up real quick. Judy's watching us over in Rock Mills. No, Tammy Farr, the cold front's not going to bring... Well, yeah, it will. Well, hang on. Whoop, I got you. Hang on a minute. So, you go in there and get Ricky and throw him some clothes on. Y'all jump in the car, go get them grandbabies, and head to Sheboygan, Michigan. Milwaukee's a good place. Maybe Green Bay, Madison, Wisconsin. Y'all head up there right now, and you'll see some snow. Rock Mills, not so much. But, this storm system is bringing a lot of snow across the Great Lakes. That is going to be a pretty significant snowstorm up there. Reba's watching us in Wadley over on the West Bank. Montana, don't see any snow in Montana, but if that'll get Ricky to get dressed and take you to Montana, I'll say it's snowing in Montana. How about that? Yeah, Cassie says that she works remote and her coworkers in Milwaukee are getting snow tomorrow. They're actually getting snow right now. All right, so folks, I'm going to recap this for you. I'm going to give you a condensed version because I kind of did the long-winded version when we first started this. No, not me. I have a tendency to get long-winded sometimes. I just want to make sure you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So let me give you the condensed version, and then we're going to step aside because this may end up being a long night, and so we're going to take a rest every chance we get here. And there are lots of things we're looking at and watching, and I need to go tune into some of those things. So here's the deal. We have a cold front that's going to move across Alabama and Georgia this evening. But prior to the cold front arrival, we are watching for the possibility of wait a minute. I had the wrong thing up on the screen. I got to show Tammy her snow. There you go. There's your snow up there in Milwaukee. What'd you say, Montana? Yeah, there's nothing in Montana right now. But up there in Milwaukee, it's snowing up toward Green Bay. All right, so anyway, here's the cold front that's moving into northwest Alabama. And we do have a few, maybe a handful of strong storms along that front, but nothing severe in Alabama. The closest tornado warning right now is up north of Knoxville, moving off to the northeast at a pretty good clip. But what we're watching for thunderstorm activity to develop across East Alabama and West Georgia out ahead of the main line. Because we have the winds turning out of the southwest as the sun sets this evening, we believe that moisture off the Gulf of Mexico, with the winds turning out of the southwest, we could get some strong storm formation right across East Alabama and West Georgia well in advance of the main line of storms. And some of the computer models are suggesting those storms are going to go strong to perhaps even severe very quickly. So we're going to be watching very closely for that. And the unique part about this is normally when the sun goes down, our severe weather chances decrease. In this case, they may be increasing because of that turn out of the southwest with the wind. So as we go throughout the evening, we may actually begin to see a better chance of severe weather, especially if these storms across East Alabama and West Georgia can actually get going in the next couple of hours or so. So we're going to be watching for that very closely. We're watching multiple different locations for weather information, and of course we'll be right back and continue with our live coverage and bring you up to date. If anything changes, if watches are issued, or if we start to see some severe weather forming around East Alabama or West Georgia, we'll be right back immediately. You folks on Facebook, hear me and hear me good. Do yourself and your family a favor and go to YouTube and subscribe to Dr. Don's Weather on YouTube and click that little bell. There are multiple reasons for doing that. One of them being we think there is a decent chance that sometime mid-April we're no longer going to be able to broadcast to our Facebook groups. We think, it's a big question mark, we think we're still going to be okay on our Facebook page, but we think we're not going to be able to broadcast to our groups. And we've got 3 groups over there on Facebook. I know a lot of you, because we started with the East Alabama Weather Group. That's how all this started several years ago. So I know a lot of you still watch us over there on the East Alabama Weather Group. I don't think we're going to be able to stream to you after April 22nd if we're interpreting what Facebook is telling us correctly. So the best idea, I'm telling you, people, it's free. Doesn't cost you a dime. It's just a few minutes to set it up. Go to YouTube. Even if you don't have it downloaded on your phone, download it. If you're sitting at home watching us on your couch, you could be watching us on your big screen TV. Go to the YouTube app on your smart TV. Just search Dr. Don's Weather. Watch us in high definition. You can see the map much better. The resolution is unbelievable. There's a little gear box down there in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. Click it and select high resolution if you have decent internet, and watch us on high resolution on your big screen TV. Incredible stuff. But you also, and here's the biggest advantage of switching to YouTube, you get a push notification when we go live. On Facebook, if you don't interact with us on a fairly consistent basis, we drop off of your news feed, and it may be hours or days before you get notified that we were live. It doesn't work that way on YouTube. It's instant if you are subscribed to our channel and you click that little bell. So do that. I'm watching weather, and I'll be back with more weather information as conditions warrant right here on Dr. Don's Weather.